what is the emotion you feel now for the 49er season? For me, it's relief.
More than joy? Because I was just thinking about when you said what's the emotion, I thought about the two ones that hit me were relief and joy.
Okay.
Are you more joyous or more relieved? Where are you right now in terms of and I don't know I guess relief is an emotion.
Well, if it's not, you get what I mean.
I totally get it. I'm not trying to semantics you in this one.
Isn't it? Is relief an emotion?
I think so.
I think so. Anyway.
Relief or joy?
I'm feeling more relief.
Okay.
I don't know that I ever, the football season is starting tomorrow night. You can't take my joy. My God, we've got a clock in the house that's tick, 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 tick till 5:20 tomorrow night.
Do you have one of those countdowns going?
Not really, but sort
It'd
of
be cool if you did.
Emotionally, we do. You know this about my family structure.
Junkies.
The 9-year-old wakes up. It's the first thing out of the teenagers, you can't get them out of bed. The first thing they do when you wake them up in the morning is they moan. Right? You got school in an hour. The 9-year-old rolls over and goes, Dad, one more day. You have any Chiefs or Lions on your fantasy team? And I'm not kidding. He hasn't even wiped the gunk out of his eyes. He's got hair going in every direction. Dad, do you have Jahmyr Gibbs on any of your fantasy teams? I'm not kidding you. It's the first thing that comes to his mind when he wakes up in the morning. So that you can't take that joy. The season's coming.
Sure.
But, yeah, there was a fly in the ointment. Big time. And now it's gone, so I'm relieved.
Yeah, I think I'm more on the joy tip just because it's hitting me that all of this S, and I just use the letter and not the word because the boss, look. I hate
You're watching on YouTube. You actually got it actually sounded like it.
And I mouthed it for the people on YouTube and Twitch because they know where I'm going, oh, snap. Oh. But thank you, Grady. The fact that all of the S is now behind us makes me feel excited, even more excited than I was about Sunday. And yes, the actual season starts in 25 hours and 23 minutes, and that's got me even more excited. Tomorrow at 5:20.
Yeah.
And it's going to be cool being here on the air with you and watching the side of your head for the last half hour of the show.
Yeah, look at my left side. Is that my good side? I don't even know if
it's
I have
a really good side.
Thank you.
It's my favorite part of our show where one of us talks and the other one watches, and then the other one talks and then the other one watches.
It happens.
It's a talk and watch.
Do you have any Chiefs or Lions on your team?
I think so. I'd have to look.
Know? You know what, though? And this is a stupid thing.
I do have one. I think I've got the Lions running back, that Montgomery cat, right?
Oh, well, he's the second running back.
Yeah.
But he'll get some run.
Yeah.
He'll get some
run.
run.
I got running back issues, so I think I'm starting him.
This is embarrassing, but it's just life. You know, the boys asked me, hey, Dad, you got any Chiefs or Lions? I'm like, I have all of them.
I have 4 leagues, right?
teams. I've got everybody somewhere. No joke. I think those Lions players from Amon-Ra to Gibbs to Jared Goff to, whatever, maybe their kicker. I don't even know. On one of the teams, I got all of them. I don't have a lot of Chiefs. I did not get Kelsey in any league. No. And so tomorrow that's comfortable. But anyway.
I do have a Chief. I just picked him up, Rashee Rice.
Oh, their receivers are interesting this year. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, Rashee.
I don't know who's
going to. The D is silent.
But who's going to. I don't. It's because it actually isn't in there.
Thank you. the rare Rashee.
Rashee Rice. Yeah. I don't know which Chiefs receiver is going to step forward. They got a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And people are excited because the Chiefs are so good and throw the ball. But I'm like, who's the dude? Is it Sky Moore? Is it Rashee Rice?
Oh, it better be Rashee Rice.
Is it the guy that Farhan drafted years ago and made everybody laugh back when people liked Farhan? Marquez Valdez-Scantling? Is it Kadarius Toney, last year's mid-season acquisition?
Look at you in the Chiefs depth chart.
I don't know, but I don't know who's the dude.
Yeah.
Right? Like Big Lebowski. I need one of them to step forward and be like, I'm the dude. And I don't know. We got to wait and see.
I might just start Rashee Rice to get some action, some Thursday night action.
Have like 5 snaps.
1 catch, 1 TD. That's all it takes in fantasy.
It's good attitude.
Yeah.
It's a good attitude.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm excited about tomorrow, but super excited about Sunday morning at 10. and the first of 17 hall passes from the missus. Because, whatever. I have like 3 jobs like you do, and so the weekends are kind of like family time. We're going to the park, and Mila's going swimming, and we're going to go see Grandma and all that.
Get her in the league.
She's won.
Involve her.
She's won.
What do you mean she's won?
Get her in a league, the 1-year-old?
No.
Oh.
Your wife.
That's separate. Get that baby in a league.
What is going on here?
The baby doesn't have a say. You're not getting heat from the baby. I imagine if you're ignoring the baby, you're getting the heat from the wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so get her involved.
Okay.
That's my advice from me to you.
Get the baby a fantasy team.
And sit Rushy Rice. That's my advice.
Okay.
All right, you're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Nick Bosa's deal is done. 5 years, $170, 122 plus, guaranteed. On his way, in fact, could already be in Santa Clara at this hour, ready to practice, will play this weekend against the Steelers. Rich in Fremont here on Willard and Dibs. Hey, Rich, what you doing? What's going on?
What's up, guys? I'm still at work, doing my work for Atco Pest Control. When you need your pest control done, go to Atco.
Whoop!
Strong.
I'll tell you something. I was just talking to my good friend, Matt Wise, last night. And Matt and I used to have a sports podcast, and you guys may not know this, but I also had a sports talk radio show that ran 3 years in their radio. And I was telling them, I said, look, and when it really comes down to it, this contract is done, okay? They're not going to let Nick Bosa walk. That's not going to happen, okay? And it's like, you look at that contract, and what they say, we probably shouldn't pay Nick this much because we really don't have the answer. That's right, you don't. Because he's a DPOY, had 22 sacks last year, pay the man, and move on. And they got that done. So thanks, fellas.
Yeah, Rich, I think everybody, this is the kind of deal where I do think, and if it sounds cheesy, oh well, this is the kind of deal where everybody gets an attababe or a pat on the back, whatever it is, after it. I will forever, I've said this a few times, I will forever be confused why a deal like this needs to wait until Wednesday before week 1. I don't get that. I don't really care as long as everything's fine. But yeah, you come out of this, and I think that it is important for messaging to take place. And that is, Nick and his agent did a great job. You have to strike, especially in football, when the iron is hot. When leverage is in your favor, you got to get every dollar that you can, every guarantee that you can. Football players deserve that. So they did a good job. The 49ers sent a message to their player, to his teammates, and to the league. Once again, if we draft you and we love you, we keep you.
Yeah.
I know DeForest Buckner got out the building. I think that was a unique situation, and there is going to be a day where maybe this isn't true, right? I know people are now looking at Brandon Ayuk. We'll see if they do it again. But the rule is, if we draft you and we like you, we keep you, and we take care of you. Nick Bosa had some quotes throughout the last year, and they weren't just like, yeah, I'm happy to be here kind of quotes that we always get. They were the like, no, this team. I want to be with this team because they've given me every resource, and they've taken care of absolutely everything, and they did it again. And that has an effect on the entire locker room. So maybe the numbers were obvious. Many of us, self-included, critical that this wasn't done by now. But by the same token, all that matters is that you get it done, and you get it done right. And then if you do, everybody gets a high five, and I think that's where we are today.
Right. And is the only thing that can possibly backfire would be something that I was worried about a couple of weeks ago, and that's a soft tissue injury based on a muscle pull or a muscle tear because he hasn't properly trained his body to go out and play NFL rigorous football. And that's something that you can't forecast, and when he's looking at it and the team's looking at it, of course, injury is the worst-case scenario, but I'm talking about an injury that would stem from not properly preparing yourself to play football, but the team and Nick Bosa and his camp and the Niners and their executives, they all put that into the calculus of the negotiation. And John Lynch himself said he needed 3 weeks, and he thinks that players need 3 weeks of real prep time to get ready to play in the NFL. And Nick Bosa is going to have, 3 days.
2 days, yeah.
3 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and the game's on Sunday. So short of that, if Nick Bosa can do what TJ Watt did 2 years ago when he signed on a Thursday, he played on a Sunday, he had 2 sacks, and he went on to be DPOY. I think he had 22 and a half sacks on the year. And you look at Nick Bosa's season last year, his game log, there was only one game in which he didn't have either a sack or a QB hit. There were only 3 games last year, Mark, where Nick Bosa didn't register a sack. So the consistency was crazy. And in 2 of those games where he didn't have a sack, he had quarterback hits. You mentioned the Raider game, and I think we played the highlight coming back in this segment. He had 5 QB hits in that game, including the one that ultimately ended the game. He didn't have any sacks, but he had 5 QB hits. So Nick Bosa comes back and immediately gets this defense back to the elite level.
Want to make sure you all get to hear some of the other reaction that we have not gotten to yet, because we are about less than 10 minutes away from getting David Lombardi on here with contract details, perspective from the organization with regard to where things go now in terms of the salary structure with Nick Bosa in camp, ready to go. Here's Javon Hargrave, his new teammate. They get to finally line up on the defensive line together for the first time this weekend.
I mean, it's going to be very exciting. It's going to help everybody, everybody around us to have one of our best players back. So, we're just ready to get to work, man.
Kyle Shanahan, with regard to exactly what they did the moments after finding out it was done.
There's a couple bro hugs and congratulations. And now I told them to go enjoy their day. Now we got to get on to real football.
Bro hugs with John Lynch and Parag Marate, who were at the center of getting this whole thing done. And then Shanahan also on the stress and how he dealt with it.
I prepared myself from the beginning, so I never was expecting it right away. Which helps me stay more positive. I got a little different these last couple of days, but I haven't been doing it for a while. John has the personality for this stuff. He does a good job with it. I know it's been hard because I know how bad John believes in Nick and wanted him here for our team. So I know how much stressed he was, feeling that pressure to try to get it done. Not only him, but Prague and Hamp. And I could tell when they walked in my door right before I came in here on their face and really just their energy that they had got it done, because it was weighing on them a little bit. It was important to get him in here, just not for us to just have a better chance to win, but because the person we know and how big of a part of the team he is for us.
Gosh, they'll never answer it, but I'd love to ask this question. What was it? What was it?
The holdup?
Yeah. What was it? What was the sticking point?
Math is hard.
Well, it is. It is.
I bet you the sticking point was guaranteed money.
Guarantees.
And also, and we'll get into this with David Lombardi in about 10 minutes, but the nature of the bonus, the signing bonus that he's getting, and how much that is and where that gets spread out, and just how Nick Bosa gets paid, how and when he gets paid, because that's where Parag Marate has been a genius with this Niner organization and the cap, is how do you manage the cap now and into the future? Because you mentioned it. We draft you, we like you, we keep you, we pay you. Those are all true. DeForest Buckner is the one that got away, but they chose Eric Armstead basically instead of DeForest Buckner. Does signing this deal preclude you or prevent you from keeping everyone that you've done that with?
Well, every player has a choice to sort of set their market and then dig their heels in. I know the 49ers felt that DeForest's number was in an unfair spot. That's how they felt. You could certainly look back on the way this has played out and say they were wrong. The Indianapolis Colts stepped up immediately when we got no problem with it whatsoever.
He got 4 and 84.
Right. Now people will go, see, the Colts were willing to. Right. And how's that gone for the Colts? They're terrible. And they're a complete fire. And their owner.
He's been great, though.
He's been great. Right. So you can't blame it on one person. If the Niners had to go back and do it again, would they do it differently? I'm sure they would, at minimum, with who they picked to replace DeForest Buckner, because
sure.
Javon Kinlaw has not worked out, at least not to this point. So I understand that wasn't like this great example of how to do it, but the reason I remained optimistic long enough was, as we've talked about, it felt from the jump like the Niners and Nick felt like the conversation was fair. Don't you feel that way?
Yes.
Nobody was ever like, 30 million? What on earth are you talking about, Nick?
Sure.
No, everyone's like, well, yeah, this is the DPOY, and therefore this is going to have to start and finish somewhere in the neighborhood of the absolute best defensive players in the history of the game.
Yes. And
so
I don't think that his ask was ever so unreasonable that the team was feeling like, oh, God, we can't possibly even meet in the middle on this deal. They landed at 34 per, and it feels like, Nick is probably happy with that. I don't know how you're unhappy with that. It doesn't feel like the reports we're getting that, Nick Bosa feels disrespected by getting 5 and 170.
That would not be a good look.
Correct.
Come out and say that.
Just closing the book on the Armstead-Buckner conversation.
Yeah.
Buckner got 4 and 84 on the same day. Armstead got 5 and 85. So that was more of a Niner-friendly deal in terms of the additional year at the same price, because it felt to me like it was going to be one or the other.
Right. Well, actually, and if you look at that,
and they got a pick, too, in the deal.
People will say, oh, you let DeForest go and you replaced him with Kinlaw, you dummies. Well, as you just said, you pick Armstead, who's essentially getting the same number for a full another year. So what did they do with that savings? What did they do with it? Is Williams on the team? Is McCaffrey on the team?
Exactly.
I don't know. Did Debo get signed? I don't know. My sense is that one of those players would not be on the 49ers.
Right.
And so that's the way you can sort of explain it away.